So after playing this game for an undisclosed amount of hours, I can say that I have officially skipped the anime watching phase and just gone straight to the music. Panam shit is a certified banger. Hey everyone, it's Seth again. So in my last video, I discussed my thoughts over the ending I got in my first playthrough of Cyberpunk 2077. Thank you to everyone who shared their thoughts in the comment section. It was really nice hearing from you guys' experiences from the game and how you shared some of my same feelings. So Cyberpunk is now over a month old, so I figured it's time for some DLC speculation. CD Projekt Red co-founder Marcin Nowinski recently released an apology video, but I'm more interested in what he was talking about in that second half of the video, which was a timeline of patches and potential DLC points throughout the year. And I have a few ideas on what these free DLCs could be and what they could include, and I just wanted to discuss that with you guys today. I would assume that they would still follow that same blueprint as Witcher 3 or close to it. Obviously the first Cyberpunk DLC isn't going to come as fast as Hearts of Stone did. And before I forget, big shout out to Demi K for letting me use the synthwave version of Panam shit. I really liked it. The first thing I would like to see is haircuts or just some extension to the Ripper dock so we can get some sort of character customization. Because it's crazy where we live in a world where Joy Toys can get an entirely new face. Plastic surgery is so advanced in this game that Pepe, the bartender in Haywood, even suspects his wife of cheating because his son doesn't look anything like him, when in reality his wife has just altered herself so much that you wouldn't even be able to recognize her as the same person. But then our character can't even shave their facial hair or try out a new hairstyle. So that's one thing I would like to see. Next would be some sort of mod shop. Now I'm not saying you need to go as in depth as GTA 5 did with vehicle customization and being able to change every single thing about the car, but at least let us change the color or add some sort of decal like the Nomad gangs do. There's already mods on the Nexus that are working towards this, and I haven't used those yet, but I probably should. But if we can get some sort of primary and secondary color option, that'd be great. Because right now it just kind of stinks that we can't customize at all. Those are the two small ideas I had for the free updates, but for the first big DLC, like the Hearts of Stone type of DLC that we're getting, that I would assume is going to be in Night City and not going to be some out-of-map expansion. Now this first theory kind of went out the window, but I'm still going to mention it anyway. But I wanted to see more of Meredith, Stout, and Militech, but I figured out that if you go against Meredith, Stout and join Maelstrom, you can find her dead body by a pier. So I was hoping she was going to be like the Gontro Dim of the Cyberpunk universe, or not really she wouldn't be a villain, but you know, like I thought that she was going to be somebody, obviously like they were going to focus on somebody that we met early on in the story, and obviously like if you join sides with Militech, she texts you and even offers you to work for Militech. I thought that was going to be like a Gontro Dim situation, like where he says we'll meet again, and then you meet again, and then you find out he's a demon. But obviously Meredith Stout wouldn't be a demon. She's just a freak. Now before we go any further, let's address the most likely outcome that's going to happen, and that is Jefferson Peralez continued with Mr. Blue Eyes. We can pretty much confirm that this is going to happen. It's going to be the closest to certain that any of these theories can be, and that's because you can literally use your Kuroshi scanners to look across the bench where Jefferson Peralez is sitting at the end of Dream On, and you can scan it, and it's Mr. Blue Eyes. And Mr. Blue Eyes, if you finish any of the endings, he's the contact that gives you the Crystal Palace heist. This can be achieved by either finishing the final act with Johnny and Rogue, or by the secret ending with V and Johnny. Like all the others, this ending leaves off on a cliffhanger with V assaulting the Crystal Palace, which leaves room for speculation on if the Crystal Palace will ever be an explorable area in future content. Another shard of evidence that I'm going to take from a fellow content creator called Ginji is that Jefferson Peralez is the only side quest character outside of Mama Wells to leave a voicemail in the ending credits. Now this message varies depending on what you decide to tell him at the end of the Dream On side quest. If you decide to tell him the truth, he will appear paranoid, but if you decide to spare him the truth and say Weldon Holt was behind it, he will be in much better spirits and even offer V a head of security position. Johnny's mention of Rogue AI is another intriguing bit of possible foreshadowing. We haven't seen much of Netwatch outside of the one rep that we encountered with the Voodoo Boys. It would be awesome to uncover even more secrets about cyberspace, seeing as the net is such a huge part of the cyberpunk world. As for Mr. Blue Eye's affiliation with the Rogue AI, that I have no clue. Moving on, this one doesn't have as solid of a lead as the Peralez Blue Eyes connection, but I would still like to see it explored further. MaxTac, otherwise known as the NCPD's Apex Predators. Very hyped up, but rarely shown in action outside the prologue and one Cyberpsycho mission in Jinguji. Now this side job is very easy to miss, so if you don't know what the hell Jinguji is, I understand. But basically, if you enter the Jinguji clothing store located in the downtown area of the map, left of Arasaka Tower, a side job will become active a day after you browse the stock of a vendor named Zane. Returning to the store and talking to Zane again will trigger Cyberpsycho to attack the store. You will then have to hold off the attacker until MaxTac is able to arrive on the scene. And after the enemy is down, both V and Zane will be interviewed by MaxTac officers before being let go. Now if you stick around the crime scene a little bit longer, you can be approached by one of the officers, and she asks V if they enjoy killing or not, and the rest of the dialogue option depends on the player's choices. But this is another one of those instances where V is offered to work alongside MaxTac, and all we can do is either refuse or say we'll think about it. As time passes in the game, we receive a text message from Zane with background information on the officer. Her name is Melissa Rory, and she is actually a converted Cyberpsycho herself. And that's it. We don't explore the lead any further. The whole Psycho Killer side job with Regina Jones seemed to kinda end a bit flat too. And Regina was my favorite fixer to work for too, so I want to see more of her in the future. And finally, the Arizona Aldecaldos DLC, aka the Panam DLC. This would obviously be a new land expansion and have a main story focused around curing V. At the beginning of All Along the Watchtower, Panam mentions her contacts in Arizona and is determined to help V survive. Personally, if I had to choose over exploring the Crystal Palace or Arizona, I'm going Arizona. This would be on par with the Blood and Wine DLC from The Witcher 3 and would definitely take some time to develop. And with the backlash of the game's release, it's safe to say we won't be seeing a project of this size for a long time. But with all the positive reactions to Panam's character, it's hard to imagine not seeing her again. In the end, this fanbase just deserves some closure with the endings that we got. And by the fanbase, I mean me. And that concludes my 2021 Cyberpunk wishlist. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. We'll probably be going into a deeper dive on some of these things once we get more details. This voiceover is driving me insane. I don't know how people do this. Like, that's the main reason I didn't get this video out, along with the footage, just gathering the footage. I'm so lazy, it's insane. But we got it out, nonetheless. And hopefully you guys are pleased with my ideas. If you have any thoughts or your own ideas, I'd love to hear them. But we will see you guys later with more Cyberpunk content. Goodbye.